What's going on, you guys? Griffin here with Country Slickers, and we're here to do a quick episode for you guys on the Maxxis Carnivore tires. I want to talk a little bit about this tire. We're getting close to changing ours, so I wanted to take a minute and talk to you guys a little bit about the tire, what we think, how it's done for us, and the miles that we've put on, and the things that we love about it, and the things that we don't like about it. So stay tuned, you guys. If you guys are new to the channel, we really appreciate you guys showing up. Thank you for tuning in. Please be sure to smack that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. We always appreciate the support on the channel. Let's chat about the Maxxis Carnivore tires. Arguably one of the most ran tires around. Lots and lots of people run these. They're super popular in the US. They're super popular in Canada. There's lots of people across North America that are using these that really like them. So let's talk a little bit about the tire and why people love it so much.
Grabbing my bear spray. We are way out here. We need to be on that side. Unfortunately, we were going down a trail exploring. Trail fix. Good. Yeah, good. Rim exploded. Look at this. In business. Minus the shock.
At this time, we'd like to give a shout out to our sponsors for making this YouTube channel possible. Alright, you guys, so real quick, want to talk a little bit about the specs on the Carnivore. So right off the top, so this tire is available in an 8-ply only, 8-ply tire, all-terrain, so made for all weather conditions so that's snow, mud, sand, road riding. It's supposed to do it all. It's definitely on the softer side of most tires. It comes in 28 to 32 inches tall, and then either a 14 or a 15-inch rim. Price-wise, if you get a Carnivore, you're looking anywhere between that sort of $350 to $450 range per tire, and that's in Canadian dollars. I'm not sure what that translates out to in the US right now, but as it sits right now, that's what you're looking at in Canadian prices anyway. I think the only other thing to mention is that the lug size on these guys, you're looking at a 0.71 inch tall lug. A lot of the bigger tires, once you get into a 32 or 33 inch tire, you're going to start seeing that 1.25 or even 1.5 inch lugs. So this is a little bit smaller on the lug size. You don't get a ton of height out of them, but overall, really nice tire. It's more of a rounded approach. You don't get that square profile. It is more of a rounded style. So some people love that look, some people hate it. I personally don't mind it at all. I do like a little bit more of a blocky size tire on a truck tire, but for the side-by-side, I think it makes a lot of sense and it looks really good. So let's talk first about durability. The number one question I always get asked when people ask me about the Carnivore is, how durable is it? How do you find it? Do you like it? Yeah, I really do. It's been a very dependable tire for us. We haven't put a flat in any one of these, knock on wood. It's been a really good tire for us, so we don't have any issues with flats. We haven't had any sidewall punctures. I do carry a tube kit and I don't carry a spare, but I've never had an issue with these. And as a matter of fact, to talk a little bit about that, we did have a situation once where we were going down the road, going extremely quick, and we did smack a rock, or I guess like you'd call it a ditch, that had a big rock sticking out of it, and it actually broke my stock KRX rim in half. And we didn't have any issues with the tire itself. We flipped that tire onto a new rim, and we've been running on it ever since. It's this front left-hand tire right here, and we don't have any problems with it. It still runs, it still holds air good. We haven't had any problems with major cuts, anything like that. Now, in terms of the actual wear and tear on them, they do have some cuts for sure. You guys can see here we have a little bit of cuts and abrasions. There are chunks missing off some of the lugs. They are on the softer side, like I said, so definitely issues with little pieces of your tread coming off. You're going to run into that. There are cuts. We don't have any sidewall tears, which has been good. There's definitely a couple times we've rubbed on the sides on either rocks or trees, and then you can see here where I've banged up the outer edge of my rim pretty badly, and I thought we were going to lose the tire. But so far, knock on wood, we've had no issues. We have always run beadlocks with these tires, so I don't know if that helps us or hinders us in any way, shape, or form, but it's been really good from that perspective. The KRX is not a light machine. This machine comes in around 2,200 pounds when it's all said and done with the accessories on it, full of fuel. that's a pretty heavy machine. And so when we're rocking through the corners and hammering down on the gas, we haven't had any issues with the sidewall blown out. So we're really impressed from that standpoint. I know before the KRX came out and this machine was coming with these stock, I believe the Razors come with its stock as well now too. But it used to be that people would upgrade into the Maxxis Carnivore. So with the fact the manufacturer started putting these on stock, I think there's a little bit of that need for people to just spend the extra money and get something that's just different from whatever comes with the machine. But I've seen no reason to change them in terms of the performance. Longevity wise, the type of riding that we do primarily is West Coast style riding. So we have a lot of smaller rocks and hard packed trails. We do a little bit of light mud riding, a little bit of light rock crawling, but we don't do a ton of that. We don't do a lot of deep mud. This isn't the tire for it. It doesn't really perform as well in the deep mud as we would like. But in terms of the longevity, so we don't do any road riding, which is good. But you can see here, I'll show you my odometer. We've got 3,700 kilometers on the odometer so far. And these are the stock tires. They haven't been rotated. They have not been balanced. We have not been working to put the fronts on the rear, anything like that. We've literally just thrown them on and run them. So 3,700 kilometers out of a set of tires on a very heavy 2,200 pound machine is pretty darn good. So we're pretty happy with the life expectancy on these. I think if you were into a higher horsepower model, like say a Maverick X3 or even a Polaris Razor Turbo or even a 1000 for that matter, they have a lot more snap off the go, and that translates to more wheel spin. With the extra wheel spin, you're definitely going to get a little bit more wear. So while you're getting 3,700 or even 4,000 kilometers out of a set of these on a KRX, once you transition into a higher horsepower model somewhere else, you're probably looking, I think safely, without a doubt, 2,500 kilometers before they're completely spanked. If you wanted to go even a little longer and push 3,000, I don't think that's out of the ballpark. You can see these here, if you look at the lug height, they have these little wear bars to indicate when you should be changing them. Realistically, I think these tires still have like 25% left in them. You know, there's no reason for me to change them. They've worked really well for us. Like I said, we really like them, and they are holding up. So we're really impressed. Durability wise, I'd honestly give these 5 out of 5. We've gone through the sharp rocks. We've gone through the big rocks. We've pinched them. We've, like I said, broke that rim, and we've had the rim completely separate. The actual tire itself is still good. So in terms of longevity wise, I think these are a super dependable tire. They are on the soft side, so you are going to get that missing chunks in those cuts. But at the end of the day, that's just the name of the game, and you can see through some of the footage that I'm putting up, the kind of riding that we do, I don't think that we're very easy on it. If you were riding consistent rock and shard and the sharp shaly stuff that you'll see in, say, towards Vancouver or up in the foothill mountains, maybe towards like Montana, something like that, I do think that you're going to end up having a few more pinch flats. But knock on wood, like I said, longevity wise, these have been really, really good to us. Very dependable, very durable. Performance, okay, so we'll start with mud and snow. We run these in light to moderate mud conditions at all times. We have a very, very wet spring season here, and then in the fall time we tend to get a lot of precipitation and snow as well. These guys perform well. We don't get stuck that often. They are not a dedicated mud tire, so if you are going to take them in the super deep stuff, or especially that silty clay peanut butter mud, these aren't going to be the machine that you, or sorry, these aren't going to be the tire that you want to run. They do have wide lug spacing in between the lugs, so whenever you're getting the tires spinning, they do clear out quite easily, but if you're going slow, they are going to slick up on you. So if you're into that slow crawling through the peanut butter mud, these are going to get you stuck. They aren't going to work. In Skeg as well, I do find that they're good. These Carnivores that we have that came stock on the KRX are only a 10-inch wide tire. We do find that they cut down through the muskeg a little bit. If you were going to be riding a ton of muskeg, I think you should go a little bit wider, try to get into an 11 or 12-inch wide. Now, in terms of the snow performance, we found them to be very good. They do bite, they do grab. If you had something a little more paddle oriented, again, I think you'd be in good shape. But for all around general riding, they do exactly what they're supposed to do. They're an all-terrain tire. They're supposed to do everything okay. They're not supposed to do anything phenomenally. Now, with that being said, where this tire really, really shines is in the hard-packed trails, for sure, as well as because they're a little bit softer, you can crawl over some rocks and get some pretty good grips, especially if you take some aero. Typically, I run these tires about 15, 16 PSI. I have dropped it before to 10 in the snow and even 9, and I see a big performance shift. You really stay on top of the snow a little bit better, and whenever you're crawling on rocks in the summertime, especially big flat-faced rocks, I find that the tires do grip and hook up quite well. So definitely kudos to Maxxis on that one. Because of that softer compound, you do get to crawl through a little bit more. Now the trade-off to that is that you are going to lose the wear on them, and as I touched on earlier, with the chunking that's coming on these lugs, part of that is going to come from that softer tire compound. Another thing that I really want to touch on that's important for us is road riding. We don't do it. We don't ever touch pavement with this. I've never had it on pavement but more than maybe 5 or 6 kilometers the entire life of the machine. So if you were to take a tire like this and run it on pavement, I do think you're going to burn through them very fast because they are a softer compound. So that's something to keep in mind for sure. If you're looking to upgrade and it's something where you guys take it on the trails, I know whenever you're down in places like, say, Arizona, you're allowed to ride on the roads in some spots. I don't think this tire is going to last for you. I think you should keep shopping, look for something a little harder compound. In terms of the fire roads, they run nice. You don't get a lot of bumps. You don't get a lot of, thinking they need to go in and get balanced. So we really like the tires for that. And we run this thing up to the max speed on it, which I believe is 110 kilometers an hour. 106 kilometers an hour, something like that. And we don't have any issues with instability or anything. As long as you have the tires full of air, it's very solid. It goes through the fire roads, no problem. So closing statements, you guys, if you're thinking about getting the Carnivores or you're buying a machine that already has the Carnivores on it, I do think it's a great tire. In terms of reliability and dependability, we've had no issues. It's been a really good time for us. In terms of the performance, it does everything well. I don't think it does everything perfectly, but you're not buying a dedicated mud tire, you're not buying a dedicated sand tire, you're definitely not buying a dedicated road tire. So it's going to do everything okay. It's not going to do everything perfect, but if you're looking for something that's all around good upgrade, I'd really recommend them. I think these guys are a strong competitor to something like the Maxxis Bighorns, definitely the Bighorn 2.0s. This was something I would pick instead of that if we're being completely honest. The XTR 370s, that's something that a lot of guys run around here. They're a really good tire. They do a little bit better in the mud with that heavier lug, the 1.25 inch lug, but you do sacrifice your sidewall dependability. I was literally just out last week and another guy that I was with blew the sidewall out of his 370. I see a lot of those pop. I don't think that the Maxxis Carnivore is the end all be all in terms of puncture resistance. Obviously tires blow, it's just the name of the game. That's part of side-by-siding. But I do think it's a good option. I do think they work well. On a lighter machine, I really think they shine as well because you don't have a lot of extra weight. Because they are an 8-ply tire and not a 10-ply, you do get a lot of weight savings on the axles, and that obviously transfers to more power and more dependability down the road. If you're thinking about picking a setup, I do think it's a solid buy. I'd give it a thumbs up. We are going to be looking to upgrade soon, not because of the way the tire runs or the performance that we get out of it, but simply because we just want a little bit more ground clearance. So we'll probably be stepping up to a 33-inch or maybe even a 35-inch tire because I think the KRX can take it. A lot of people run them and really like them. I did want to give people a long-term review and a good insight into what we think of the Carnivores, why we like them, and why we would easily purchase them in the future if they came in a little bit bigger sizing. So thank you to everybody that is still watching. I would love to hear your opinions on what your favorite tire is. So if you guys don't mind, drop in the comments below what machine you're running and what tires you have on it. I'd love to hear about what you think is a strong competitor for these things because we're going to be looking to upgrade. So whether that's the XTR 370s, the EFX Moto Ravage has come up. We've talked a little bit about going to just a simple Bighorn tire, the Abor, Rock Monsters. I know a lot of guys love the Rockzillas down south. They're pretty soft to run around here, around Calgary, but hey, if they're good options, like I said, drop them below, let us know in the comments, throw the name in the hat, and I'll do my research on them and see if I think that they're going to fit for our KRX. So until next time, you guys, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you guys subscribing, and I hope that this review offered a little bit of insight and offered a little bit of value in terms of letting you know what this tire is all about. And we will see you guys in the next video. Until then, Country Slicker out of here.